G'day ladies and gents, welcome to War Thunder with Mags, and welcome aboard the Yak-9T. Now I haven't flown the Yak-9T since about the time I started this channel. I upgraded the Yak-9T and the Yak-9K to fully upgraded in arcade, and then I just put them back in the hangar, mainly because they were a common arcade seal clubbing tool, and I tended to avoid those sort of aircraft. At that time, however, the Yak-9T was relatively uncommon in realistic battles, and this was largely due to the very limited ammunition load it carries on board. However, recently I've been seeing more and more Yak-9Ts show up in realistic battles, so I decided to bring mine out and find out why. Now we're here on Spain versus Germany. I love this map. I hate the fact that it's only a low-level map. This map would be ideal for a Russian versus Germany jet battle map. Specifically 8.7 battle rating, so MiG-15s versus MiG-15s with CL-13 Sabres as backup. It would be brilliant. The map is huge, and let's face it, the CL-13 is a Sabre that's already fighting Sabres. There should be a map floating around where the MiGs get to fight the MiGs. Now I've just had first contact, got clipped lightly by this 109 F4. Following in pursuit, I've just taken a second clip from Focke-Wulf 190 A5 that's behind me, but it did no real damage. He pushes himself into a stall, 37mm straight up the back of the plane, first target out, and then roll out immediately, and I'm in the middle of a pitch dogfight. Almost the entire enemy team is here, and most of them are targeting me. So my objective here is to try and kill the enemy planes, obviously, but it's more about trying to maneuver this aircraft constantly to keep myself out of the guns of multiple aircraft that are approaching. Now, historically, this is something the Yak-9T in this situation shouldn't have been able to do, but this is War Thunder. Looping around a lot, trying to get some range shots on this 190. Take another shot from the side, I'm obviously being targeted. Thankfully, I only get a light clip, no real damage. Instead of watching the enemy aircraft during this turn, I was actually watching the shells and trying to put myself out of their line of fire, an interception. Back through the loop. Check that target, he's too far away to be a threat yet. I've probably got another 2 turns before he arrives. These guys, however, are already on me. Push it into a dive. I've got a 190 below me that I might be able to get a firing line on, but unfortunately he's pulling up as I'm pulling down, so missed him. Now I'm having to constantly apply right-hand roll during these turns. I am using keyboard binds in order to make these turns. Oh, 190 in a stalled out position. And there goes the wing, second kill. Now, as I was saying, I was having to put right-hand roll on at all times. I am using keyboard binds in order to control elevation control through all these turns, but due to the damage on the wing, the aircraft is tilting constantly to the left-hand side, so I'm constantly having to counter that rotation on the elevators by rolling right. Now, as you can see in the top left-hand corner of the screen, the Yak-9T does have an overheating problem. It will overheat on everything but snow maps at 100% throttle. Constantly controlling your speed and throttle control is very important. As you see here in a second, I haven't been paying too much attention to it, and my timer for engine death comes up. I'm out of 30mm shells, or 37mm shells rather. But get a nice spark and fireball that 190. Now, that should have been my third kill, or at least an assist. Unfortunately, a Yak-P gets a shot into him in a few moments, and I wasn't awarded either. Still taking shots through, roll the plane through to avoid fire, roll back. Take into a vertical roll. 109 G6. Get some shots into its nose. Dip it back around. I've still got 2 targets on me. I'm not worried about that 190. He's still flying in the background. B-25's on him. The Yak will show up in a second to clean him up. Just trying to keep track on both of these. Unfortunately, I'm down to 53 rounds of MG, and that's it. So now I'm just trying to avoid enemy fire while I'm waiting for the rest of my team to arrive. Take another clip there, only sparks. 190 incoming, 109 going high, it's the G6 again. I raise the nose to try and get an attack angle on the aircraft, but I see the shots go in, and I see the trail of smoke. I fire a short burst, but about the time I pulled the trigger, I realise that that plane is going into the drink. He's been taken out, so just peel away and let him go. And the time has come up, and this is the point that I noticed. So just throttle back to 0. I've got a window of opportunity between these two fighters just to shut it down and let my engine cool. As soon as I'm back to white, throttle back to 100%. 190A coming in again, tries to get shots, I dip underneath it. Bring the aircraft back around. Now I have one good burst for a potential kill left in the guns, but that's all I've got. Unfortunately, the Spain map, and the reason why I don't like it for low-level aircraft, is its sheer size. Right now I'm about 30 kilometres from my runway. This map is huge. If I RTB now, it's effectively game over. I will never make it back into the battle. Or if I do, it'll be because these two German fighters have taken out my entire team. One of the A5s attempts to clear the other one's tail, he misses. I go in, he attempts to make a shot at me, again, dip underneath the shots. I'm not interested in nose-to-nosing that many cannons. That A5 continues behind me, somebody is in pursuit already, I'm not going to turn back on it, I'll continue through to this way, and the reason why is this is heading in the direction of my runway. If I need to break off and get a reload, I might as well continue the pursuit that's actually leading in the direction that I'm going to have to go anyway. Unfortunately, I wasn't to get any more kills or combat in this battle. The A5 that passed over to my rear before has been taken out, and Skull here runs to the ends of the earth in order to keep away from us and ends up winning via ground forces. So results for the match. First place for the team with 2 kills. Should have been 3 or at least 2 with an assist, but unfortunately that A5 I fireballed didn't register. Terror of the Sky and Bulletproof awards. 33,315 Silver Lions and 1,607 base RP. And that was one hell of an evasive dogfight. I had fun with that. Now our second battle for today's video is actually a by request. This is the Curtiss P-36A Hawk. And it was requested by Sprechen Doubloons on my SPD video, and this fitted in very well with what I wanted to fly. I originally thought I had never actually flown one of the Hawks before, but it turns out I was wrong. The P-36A, which I'm flying here, the first of the Hawks you get access to, mine already had the airframe unlocked, so the first upgrade, and only had 9 free repairs, so I've flown this plane at least once before. I have no recollection of ever flying it, however, so it was likely on the day it was first released. And honestly, that makes sense. When this plane was entered into the tree, I was getting ready to unlock my first series of US jets. So, at the time I was very much into the new, shiny and powerful aircraft. Going back to play new, lower level aircraft like the Hawk had very little interest in me, because they were not effective aircraft for grinding the new jets that I wanted access to. The second thing with the Hawk is, well, at the time it was put into the game, I wasn't particularly fond of Japanese aircraft. I loathe the Zero with a passion, and the Hawk flies like a Zero, so that one flight would have probably been enough to turn me off. Now I say it flies like a Zero, and well, you'll see that in this battle. The plane has very limited roll ability, just like an A6M2, but has incredible looping ability through the turning ability through the vertical, exactly like a Zero. Its armament is a single 7.62mm machine gun and a single 12.7mm machine gun. It effectively has the same armament as the most heavily armoured variant of the P-shooter. The 7.62 has 500 rounds of ammunition, the 50 cal only has 200 rounds, and as I discovered this match, in stock format, the 7.62 is actually very, very prone to overheating in sustained bursts. So I've selected my first target, BF-109E1. The most dangerous aircraft on the enemy team, and there are 2 of them. My plan was to eliminate both, so going after the first one now. Made my first pass, as you can see, vertical turning ability very good, rolling out a major issue. 109 passes beneath me, again managed to roll it over the other side, stand on the elevators for the turn. I take a shot there from a HE-51, it was no real damage. Dip the nose back towards the ground and apply WEP, I've got to catch it up. And that was one of the things I did notice about the Hawk 2, which was a nice surprise. It is actually pretty fast. It is a very light aircraft with a fairly powerful engine, so that makes sense. Goes high, take my lead. Oh, what I wouldn't give for a second 50 cal here, but I've done critical damage. Dives in towards the ground, I just move to follow, Holding off on the trigger, I want to see if he goes in or if he pulls out. He manages to pull out of the dive, so line him back up again. I'm approaching in very fast here. I've just put in another big hit on his tail. Straight into a loop, roll in the apex, drop back over in a semi-barrel roll, fall back onto the tail. Another burst in, that was shot straight into the engine. That's killed his engine. Take it straight back in the vertical, re-roll and prepare for another dive, but it's not needed, he goes in. Now, the enemy team had two 109s, and I was preparing to move on the second one, since the rest of the teams pretty much consist of P-shooters and HE-51s, but something happened, and I'm not sure what. It looks like the other 109 went into the ground. So, he's out of the fight. I don't really have a lot of choice here. So, moving on the HE-51s. The enemy team does have a HE-111 as well, but I'll come to him later. So I'm down to 320 rounds of 7.62 and 84 rounds in the 50 caliber. More than enough to deal with these biplanes. A 7.62 alone, even with only one, should be more than enough. These are only HE-51s. They do have manoeuvrability on their side, however, if they choose to use it. The Hawk, they will never follow the Hawk through rolls and through loops, but they'll easily outperform it in rolls and tight turns. But he doesn't. Some critical damage through. Again, taken to the vertical. Aileron roll through the loop to realign for an attack. Line him up, but he goes in. Second kill of the match. HE-111 still off in the distance. He's merrily bombing ground targets. I'm not too worried about him at the moment. There is another HE-51 in the area though, and it was looking like it was going to take a shot at me. So just loop around wide, take altitude and then pull over, begin taking the lead shots, and pilot kill. Third kill. Now, HE-51s are soft as butter in high tier matches. However, with only a single 7.62mm machine gun and only 200 rounds of ammunition, it might as well be a B-17 at the moment. So I moved to RTB for ammo. So we're about 2 minutes on. I'm climbing away from the runway and closing in on the HE-111. I'm fully rearmed. Our team has self-destructed, however. I'm not entirely sure what happens. It looks like two of our players attempted a runway landing to rearm and actually crashed and left the match. So it's me and a P-shooter versus a HE-111. And this HE-111 pilot was awesome. I wish there were more people in the game like him. He's in his bomber. He's got two enemy fighters closing in. Both of us are sitting on 3 kills at this stage in time. His entire team has been eliminated and he doesn't care. He's merrily chatting away with us at the moment, discussing different advantages of aircraft, the current state of the game and trees, the situation he's in at the moment. He's entirely laid back about what's coming. Now begin to make my move on him. We may be having a nice conversation, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to try and kill him. First lead shot, put a burst through. It's more getting a test. Take it back into the loop. And roll out at altitude. I do not want to dive in behind him. He does have rear-facing machine gunners. I want to get an attack angle from above him where his gunners haven't got an angle on me, so I can strike at his engines. Or at least get clear shots at those gunners and take them out so I can pull on the tail for execution. Dip the nose down. And I'm aiming for the right engine to stealth for starters. I'm trying to start a fire. Closing too fast, however, I wasn't able to get it. And this was beautiful. This was a great bombing run by him. Takes out nearly the entire tank column almost perfectly. Back into the turn and dip the nose back down. Again, angling from approach from behind. He's going into a bank. This will give me a profile on his guns, but again, I'm going to be closing in fast. I'm leaving the WEP on because I want to minimise my time in his gunners. Take my shot and pass through. Back into the loop again. Now, that first pass has actually jammed my 7.62, It only takes a couple of seconds burst to actually kill that gun, as it turns out, in stock form. So I'm only on the 50 caliber at the moment, which means I'm running out of ammunition fast. I'm down to 68 rounds. I've only just realised now that I'm not firing the 7.62. Re-begin the dive. Now I was trying to put critical damage on his left engine here, but I couldn't quite get the guns on it, so I changed over to aiming my last shots into the tail, trying to clip the elevator. And then that happens. The pea shooter actually just rammed the HE-111. Now both aircraft survived the ram. The pea shooter needs to RTB as its landing gear has been ripped off and it's taken critical damage. The HE-111, the combination of my damage plus the damage of the ram, he crashes in about 60 seconds and no kills awarded. So that was the end of the match. So now it's time to play that fun game of how many upgrades can Mags get on effectively a stock aircraft in a single match. And the answer is all of them, fully upgraded in one battle. Now the results for the match were second place with 3 kills, odd considering that 2 of first place kills were actually AI. Awards for the match were Terror of the Sky, Bulletproof and Balancer for that 109 kill, 25,619 Silver Lions, and 4,390 base research points, enough to fully upgrade the aircraft. And I really like this plane. I'm looking forward to spading the other two. This thing flies exactly like a Zero, and I always enjoyed flying my Zeros with upgrades. Once I got used to the way that they flew, it'll be nice to be able to do it all over again. I'm actually enjoying flying the low-level aircraft in general. Flying high-level stuff is incredibly fun, and highly competitive, really good battles a lot of the time. Not always, but a lot of the time. But the low-level stuff is so much fun and so stress-free. To put it into perspective, this aircraft, now it's fully upgraded, only costs 640 Silver Lions to repair at maximum cost, and I just made 25,000 credits in a single match. You have no stress because there is absolutely no way to lose money on low-level aircraft. And it's a nice change from the 60 to 70,000 credit repair bills that I've had to face recently flying high-level jets. Anyway, Sprechen doubloons, there's your Hawk battle. To everybody else, hope you enjoyed the video. Click like if you do, subscribe if you want to see more, fly smart, fly safe, and I'll catch you in the skies.